Thanks to the MCU, it's pretty much safe to say that the general public knows all there is to know about the Avengers, right? They are Captain America, they are Iron Man, they are Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye, they are the greatest pairing since peanut butter and chocolate, or that amazing and unforgettable night that led to my son Ewan being born. God, I'm so proud of that boy. However, much like that night in question, a lot of people actually have their facts wrong, as while the public might think they know a ton about Earth's greatest collaboration, in actuality, there's a ton of details that have been buried in the comics or simply forgotten. So let's grab our tight body form fitting suits and step into our convenient for the plot time travel devices and journey back through the Avengers' real timeline. I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 things that everyone always gets wrong about the Avengers. Number 10. Captain America was the first Avenger. Everyone knows that Captain America was the first Avenger, right? After all, it's in the title of his own movie, for Bucky's sake. Well, except he wasn't, as the original version of the Avengers didn't even feature America's ass. He was actually still frozen at the time of their formation, only coming into the fold in issue number 4. Instead, the lineup consisted of Iron Man, Thor, Ant-Man, and Wasp, who found themselves battling the Hulk in their first outing thanks to some sorcery courtesy of Loki. Loki had figured that using Bruce Banner's alter ego and the strength that came with it would be the perfect weapon to exploit. However, as with most of his plans, it backfired and actually meant that he inadvertently created the Avengers. Very smooth, my dude. Though Cap would eventually take up a position within the team, the title of First Avenger would actually go to Janet Van Dyne, aka the Wasp. She would also be the one who would name this new supergroup, meaning that even though he is now synonymous with them, Cap actually wasn't the first. Number 9. They've never been close to being cancelled. There is no doubting that these days the Avengers are a merchandising juggernaut, with comics, movies, bobbleheads, and I'm sure I spotted a Thanos-shaped fist sex toy somewhere. There seems to be little that they can't sell to Joe Public. Even back when Stan Lee and Jack Kirby formed the group to rival DC's Justice League, they must have known it would be a success, right? Well, it turns out that they did actually come pretty close to axing the entire project, as when, during the 1950s, Marvel's distributor closed down, the company chose to work with Independent News, a group that was also part of the same company as DC. Yes, that's right, they literally had to sleep with the enemy to stay in business. The deal that they signed meant that some comic lines had to be axed, and it came down to the Avengers and X-Men versus Gunsmoke Western and love romances. The choice might seem obvious now, but the pair deliberated over it and literally only came down to sales rather than preference. So yes, if Westerns and romance did better, we might never have actually seen the Avengers actually assemble. Number 8. There is only one true Avengers team. If you've ever proudly stated that the Avengers are the best team ever, then chances are that you might meet the same response from any fan of the written iterations. And that is, well, which one? After all, it's not just the New York team. I mean, they can't be everywhere at once. So in the comics, there's West Coast Avengers, the Young Avengers, the Dark Avengers, or hell, even the Great Lake Avengers, to name but a few, who run under the bigger banner of the Avengers. This contest to be the best of the best has actually formed the backbone of a few of Marvel's bigger crossover events, with Secret Wars and Avengers Disassembled. Yet, for the average person, if it doesn't have Iron Man or Steve Rogers in, it's not the Avengers. How wrong they are, right? Number 7. They've always been Earth's most popular heroes. Nowadays, the Avengers are, arguably, the most popular superhero team on the planet. I mean, yeah, the Justice League may have something to say about that, but still. When Stan Lee and Jack Kirby first put the team together, it was from a selection of characters who weren't what you'd call successful. Sure, they were pulling in enough readers each month to justify their comics being kept in circulation, but they weren't the likes of the global megastars, the X-Men, who the Avengers were actually going directly up against, having both launched around the same time. The X-Men exploded in popularity and left the Avengers behind. In fact, it's only recently that they've taken over from the School for the Gifted, and remember, it wasn't the Avengers that Fox bought the movie rights for, was it? Yeah, think about that. Number 6. Nick Fury runs the team. Now here's the thing, when you're working with the likes of Samuel L. Jackson, you probably have to bow to the weight of his acting chops a little, right? It's why Nick Fury has been so instrumental in the setup of the Avengers within the MCU, pulling the strings to bring everyone together in their time of need. Yet to be honest, in the comics, he's got sod all to do with them. As previously mentioned, if anyone can be seen as responsible for their existence, it's actually Loki. But thanks to movie magic, a lot of people are convinced that it's all on old Nick's shoulders. The truth, on the other hand, is far different. Nick Fury is far too busy with S.H.I.E.L.D. to be wasting time trying to corral a bunch of superheroes into doing what he wants. After all, he's got some super secret spying to be getting on with, right? Nah, the Avengers are kind of okay just managing themselves, even if that does lead to a slight old bit of infighting from time to time. Number 5. Thanos is a completely original idea. The mad titan who just loves to snap his fingers like some hipster jazz fiend is one of the best villains doing the round today, both in the comics and obviously on the silver screen. However, it's a bit of a falsity to say that he's 100% an original idea. I mean, just ask his creator, Jim Starlin, who told CBR, "You'd think that Thanos was inspired by Darkseid, but that was not the case when I showed up. In my first Thanos drawings, if he looked like anybody, it was Metron. I had all these different gods and things I wanted to do, which became Thanos and the Titans. Roy took one look at the guy in the Metron-like chair and said, beef him up. If you're gonna steal one of the new gods, at least rip off Darkseid, the really good one." So there you have it. If you've ever looked at Thanos and thought to yourself, damn, he kinda looks familiar, well, now you know why. Number 4. The original team was split up to sell more comics. Much like when I'm with one of your mothers, a lot of attention is focused on the Avengers coming together. But as with me and one of your mothers, they could make a lot more cash just splitting up and doing their own thing. It worked for the Avengers, and yes, that is my one per list. It was quite a shock in the 60s when after just 16 issues, the original Avengers decided to call it a day. And to fans at the time, and to so many today, the question still remains as to why. Well, many thought that the answer came down to green, and no, I'm not talking about the Hulk, I'm talking about cold hard cash. The thought was that any fans who enjoyed the Avengers would follow these heroes back to their solo runs, which makes sense on paper, right? Well, it does, but it's not true, as the real reason the Avengers were broken up was just because Stan Lee couldn't keep up with the continuity across the comics. Which actually kind of makes more sense, because he was a one-man writing machine at the time, so when things got too much, he just pressed the reset button and things kept on turning. Number 3. The Hulk is a long-standing member. As we mentioned before, Banner was pretty much the catalyst that got the gang together, offering some serious gamma-powered muscle to the team. However, in the comics, he doesn't actually stick around for very long. After being the first protagonist the gang had to face up to in the very first issue, the Hulk would team up with the others, but only stick around for one more month. When the Space Phantom takes his form, leaving the not-so-jolly Green Giant in limbo, another battle ensued with his friends. Eventually, Spaceface is beaten after taking the guise of Ant-Man and Iron Man, but even though the group is triumphant, there's one little fact that's been left out of the movies, and that's that the rest of the team really hates him. This is too much for the Hulk, and with the attitude that any teenager would be proud of, he decides that he doesn't need them, and in fact, he doesn't need anyone, and with one giant leap, he jumps out of the story and out of the Avengers. Number 2. As is Spider-Man. Everyone always assumes that because of the multiple team-ups with the Webhead, that he's always just been hanging around, just waiting for his chance to join up with the Avengers. But really, that's not the case. Spider-Man didn't officially join until 2005 in the New Avengers. This takes place after Scarlet Witch loses her mind and wipes out most of the current crop, thus seeing the squad disband. But you can't keep a good group down, and like so many Ozzy Osbourne tours, they start back up as soon as they can. It's a common assumption that Spider-Man has always played a central role, but it wasn't until Electro's antics forced a new iteration of the group into existence that the New York neighborhood got even more friendlier. Actually, wait, that sounded like a sex joke. That's not what I meant. I'm only allowed one per list. And number 1, they didn't have a big pool of heroes to choose from. And our biggest misconception is the fact that the Avengers are just a specific group of people with a supremely elitist view on who can join their ranks. But that simply isn't true, because one of the funniest things to note is that they've actually had more members of the X-Men in the Avengers than any other Marvel heroes, beginning way back in 1965 when Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch teamed up with the supergroup in Avengers number 16. Storm, Wolverine, Rogue, the list is seemingly endless, and whenever they need to bolster their numbers, it's usually Professor X's school for gifted youngsters that they go to. This has happened so often, in fact, at one point they were even known as the Uncanny Avengers, which is pretty much the ultimate mark of respect that could be handed out to their mutant brethren. And there we go, those were 10 facts that everyone always gets wrong about the Avengers. Let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. But before you go, let's talk about something else that everyone always gets wrong. And that is, you know what? It's okay to fail sometimes. And I don't mean that in a case of just go out there and make a fool of yourself. I just mean that we put way too much pressure on ourselves to succeed in this society. And you know what? You can learn more from your mistakes, and you can get a lot of help in hand and good advice from people if you actually try, but don't necessarily succeed in the way that you planned. Trust me, it is okay to take a step back, take a breather, recoup your losses, and try again. You've got this. And if you want to have a chat about this or anything else, then you can go follow me at RetroJ with a 0 over on Twitter. And as always, I have been Jules, you have been awesome, never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!